everyone! We are Misfit Monsters. Still, we haven't changed.
We don't fit in yet.
I'm Jamin. I'm the game master for our game, which is called Shattered Fates, which is a Pathfinder game.
Elise Hobson. Crystal Lee.
Lucas G.
And we are Misfit Monsters. I think I just said that already. So we're just going to sort of chill out for a little bit before we actually begin the stream. We've been setting up and stuff like that, so we're just going to kind of chat. Unless you guys feel like you're ready to go.
I am ready to go.
Are you?
I'm ready for a massage.
Okay. I cannot help you with that, unfortunately.
I'm ready to go.
It sounds like you need another cup of coffee. Or to drink your coffee.
Coffee and a massage is two very different things.
Yeah. I'm good. We can go.
Oh, okay. So, all right. I guess we're starting. Everyone's ready to go. If that's the case, then we'll do a little quick recap of last session, just at least the very end of it. At the very end of last session, our group of orphans were met with an unknown person, and that person gave them each an object from their past, which were, start with you.
Oh, my butterfly.
A locket.
Mother scarf.
Now, these objects were lost in a fire previously, in which a number of orphans, as well as unfortunately Viola, were all lost. But suddenly, this figure shows up. They don't remember the figure, they just remember someone coming, and then suddenly it's just like their memory is sort of lost, and then they see this object sitting in front of them. And each of them has been visited in this way, including Corwin as well. And that was where we kind of left off, except no, hold on. After finding it, they sort of met up with each other, at which point you and Corwin also met up with Gaspar. Now, Gaspar was, of course, the old, sociopath and bully, and actually proven later psychopath, who killed someone during the previous fire. And he was seen coming out of Corwin's place. She met up with, Mishka met up with him, was nearly choked to death by him, but was able to call something forth from within her to stop him. Basically caused him pain. He backed away and ran off. That's about it. And if I recall correctly, Corwin picked you up and you passed out in his arms.
Yes.
And that is where we left off. Yes, it is.
All right.
So,
okay.
Christiana.
Yes. By the way, I was told that you look wonderful today.
Oh, thank you very much.
So, just to let you know.
Was that snakes?
That was. So, just in case something right now is going to be really bad.
Yeah.
So
is Snakes prepping me for his future trolling?
Reminder. I don't know. Yeah, he is. He's ready.
He's ready for the troll.
Ready to go.
Yeah. All right. Well, at least I got a compliment before the trolling started.
Yeah.
So, all right, Christiana. So you're sitting and you're playing with your blocks. And you basically have blocks and you have a few other toys and other things that your mom and dad have given you over the years. You don't have a whole lot of toys, of course. They're mostly just things that have been hobbled together by your mother, kind of sewn in different pieces. But they may be all you have, but I'm assuming you love them. I mean, they're like handmade, And so you're playing with those and just sort of sitting in your room. And your room is also your parents' room, of course. So, and you can kind of hear the door closing, and you can hear the mumbled talk of your parents, chatting with each other, and you know that your dad has returned home from work, which also means that dinner will be starting soon. Now, Aunt Viola is here as well, and she's been sort of hanging out with your mom, and of course, while they catch up and talk and do adult things, you've been sort of playing by yourself. But you begin hearing your mom calling out your name. Christiana! Dinner time!
Go over and get some dinner.
Okay, so as you kind of come out from your room, you walk into the main sort of entry hallway, and from there you can, sort of see your father sitting, like he's moving to sit down at the table, right? And on the sort of coat rack are all of his protective gear from work, right? It's all kind of sitting there and hanging. It smells a little bit musky, like it always does. And as you kind of make your way into the kitchen, you see that he sort of turns and looks over at you and smiles, just a gentle smile. And you can see that Viola's there, and she just sort of nods to you and turns back to your mother as they continue their conversation. And your father obviously seems a little bit, like he doesn't want to break into it, so he kind of looks to you. You good girl today?
Yes.
Yeah? Do you want your prize?
Of course.
Kind of pulls out And he hands you, it's basically like a stick with this like candy on it that's all like hardened and placed all around it. It's rock candy, basically. And he just sort of sneaks it over towards you, tries to do it like so that your mom can't see. And you hear your mom just go, "Not now, dear. She can have it after dinner is done." He just kind of looks at you and winks and turns and sets it off on the side for you and helps you up onto the onto the table. I mean, at this point you're 6. The bench is a little high for you, but with his help you're able to get up there fairly easily. And he just the dinner begins, and of course for you it's the adults talking and adults having their whole thing, and of course your father has his typical speech in mealtime, talking about the city, talking about work, and talking about, but this time it's a little bit more impassioned. It's a little bit more than before. He always talks about sort of this love that he has of freedom. And now, mind you, he wasn't from Cheliax. He actually came here from outside of Cheliax. You hear he's from a place called Varizia.
Okay.
Specifically a place called Corvosa. Supposedly you were born there originally and brought down here. But today he seems even more sort of like normally he's frustrated, right? But today he seems happy. Like, and you're kind of hearing him talk and everything else. And it's hard for you to follow him. He talks so fast and so loud, but it's something about something that he did today, and you get the feeling that he finally talked to the people he works with. Okay. Right, and finally stood up to them, and finally said his piece, and he obviously feels really good about it. But then again, the chicken's really good too. And so as this conversation is going on, you kind of begin like hearing noises from outside. And as you turn out towards the window, you can see that there's like a number of what look like torches going past the windowsill.
Sorry, I always end up smiling when like things are like really
about
terrible.
To go bad. Yeah, I know.
I always end up smiling like, "What are you gonna do, Jen?"
Are you just happy that bad things are gonna happen to you or something?
No, it's always just like a weird. It's because it's it's entertaining. It's a story. So
right.
Like even when things are really bad, you're like, "This is so cool."
So outside you see torches, and your parents don't seem to notice anything at all. They're still kind of lost in their conversation, but the torches seem to be gathering.
Well, I'll give their attention.
Okay, how?
Point out the window and say like, "Hey, look, there's."
They're still talking.
I jump up and down, and wave around.
Christiana, sit down.
There's someone outside.
I didn't hear anything at the door. And she kind of looks up and like looks out the window, and your father sort of begins turning around at that. Christiana, go hide in your room.
Why?
Go in your room and stay there.
So,
Alright. You run into your room. Where do you go inside of your room?
If I was, it would probably be like all little kids. You hide under the bed when you're supposed to hide.
Okay. So you're sliding underneath the bed?
Yeah.
Alright. While you're underneath there, you're just sort of hearing muzzled voices sort of off in the background. Arguments, sort of fighting, something going on. You had seen, like, as you ran past out the window, you saw people out there. You weren't sure exactly who they were, although you did recognize one of them as someone your father has worked with before, and that you sort of seemed like you just kind of caught it for a moment. But suddenly you hear this loud screaming. It sounds like your mother screaming. Do you stand in the bed or do you get out?
No, I would probably stand in the bed because that's scary now.
The door bursts open. Like off the hinges bursts open. And you see a number of shapes begin making their way in. And from where you are, there's just sort of the drape that kind of goes over the bottom of the bed, and you can make out a number of different feet. And they begin marching off through the house and then burst through the back door. And you're just seeing this group of them marching their way through. And one of them seems to be dragging someone inside and throwing, it looks like your father, sort of up against the wall. And you can see him from where you are. Like you could, if you wanted to, kind of go out and touch him. And you do see that, like, as he's laying down slumped, you can see there's something red sort of pouring off from his neck. And he does sort of turn his head a little bit towards you and your eyes meet.
Mhm.
Do you go towards him?
I would probably attempt to reach for him,
Okay.
but try and like stay hidden as much as possible because I don't really know.
Okay. And you see that he basically starts reaching out towards you as well, and his hand slumps down. And you see the life just goes out of his eyes. At which point your arm is grabbed. And you feel yourself being pulled out from underneath. And one of the men, obviously from outside, basically just lifts you up by your arm and just looks at you with this sort of hateful look in his eyes. It's just this terrifying look. And suddenly he just kind of jolts like this and gurgles and slumps down to the ground, dropping you to the floor. And behind him, you see Aunt Viola.
Oh man, wham!
Mhm.
Stab away.
And she grabs you
Mhm.
and just sort of lifts you up and says, "Get on my shoulders."
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously following directions at this point.
All right. So she runs over to your window
Mhm.
and just sort of pulls open the drapes and everything else. Kind of begins climbing out the window very carefully, and kind of looking around. And you see torches sort of moving around, like they're kind of looking for something or someone. And she begins making her way off into the night, you on her shoulders, as you make your way very slowly out of the city. These memories are obviously in your mind. As you're sitting inside of the Gilded Cow with Parno, who seems to be pacing back and forth with object in hand, waiting for Mishka to return with Corwin. You're not sure why at this point these memories have come to mind, but for some reason they just seem to be at the very surface of everything that you're thinking about right now. Especially that look in your father's eyes. So what are you doing right now?
Probably watching Parno.
Okay. His pacing
He's not
is...
one to lose his cool, so
I'm lifting the scarf to smell it, like, soot? No. It's clean. It says that out loud. It's clean.
It's cleaner than it was before. I mean, you'd had it for years, and a lot of different things you'd carried around with you, dirt from the ground, everything else from travel, all of it's gone. It is completely clean.
And just resumes pacing. Like, he's lost in his own thoughts.
maybe you should sit down.
If I sat down, I'd have to get up.
Eventually, perhaps, but you're sort of wearing out the floor?
I have to scrub it anyway.
Yeah.
It just says kind of absent-minded offhand.
I think that it would be best for you to sit down. Why don't you have a drink? It might calm your nerves. You seem very nervous.
Are you going to pour one for him?
Wait, yeah, okay. I can't remember. Do you own this place?
No,
or,
no.
okay.
He works for the person who owns it. So he's the innkeeper, basically.
I'll go up and just grab. No, I would have assumed that I actually probably had already grabbed two, and one was already sitting there, and I will.
Yeah, right now it's daytime. There's no one here.
Yeah.
I think I did pour us drinks, actually.
I can't remember.
Yeah,
That's
back-
why.
Is it-
I'm sure there will be there. They're sitting there,
Right.
and I'm just.
So do you pour him another, I guess, is the best way to put it.
No, because he probably hasn't drank that one, so I'm just like, this thing into your hand, please.
He'll go up to the actual table and stop. He doesn't sit down, but he will grab the drink and.
As you grab the drink and you're bringing it up to your mouth, the door bursts open.
I say three now.
It's more like it was kicked, and you see that Corwin's backing his way in, like he kicked it with his foot behind him.
Very
And as he-
Herculean, right?
Yeah, as he turns himself around, you see in his arms is Mishka, and she seems completely unconscious.
What's wrong?
What happened?
You also notice around her neck, there's just sort of this reddish, like, imprint. It almost looks like fingers.
Is she awake? Is she?
No, she is unconscious. And he comes over and goes, "Clear the table."
While she does that, I actually run behind the counter. I've got some spices that work as smelling salts here. She's okay, right?
He begins going through her pack. grabs one of Mishka's packs and goes, nope. Grabs another pack. Yep. Pulls out a container of stuff and tosses it to you.
I'll hold it out under her nose.
Okay. The aroma, like the pungent aroma, just kind of kicks into your brain, and everything just comes right back on with a start as you basically just burst upwards. And you're lying on a table.
I put down the bag, the pouch.
What happened, Corwin?
Water?
Gaspar.
I hold the drink out. It's
For
not
some
water.
reason, he was
Okay.
leaving from my smithy. When I came back out and saw her, he was attacking her.
Why would he attack you? What did you do?
Gaspar's in the city.
I know.
He knows you.
I didn't do. I don't do. I didn't do anything.
Did you lose your accent? Sorry.
Yes, I guess going unconscious like kicked the accent right
Yeah,
out.
it's gone now. Forever. I totally threw you off. I'm sorry.
I thought that I saw somebody else. I went up. I said, excuse me," and I did not know it was him. When I see him, I try to just back away, but I woke up on the table. I do not know how I go from backing away to on the table.
Just looking at party.
Corbin, what happened after?
I don't know. He just started screaming and then ran off into the crowd. I have no idea why. That's when I got up to her.
I think he picked me up. I think
He was choking you.
that's why my
That
throat
doesn't-
hurts.
Did you attack him? Did you do? It just doesn't make any sense if you would just.
Here,
I don't know.
let's see your throat.
It's Gaspar.
He's
He
actually
never
like-
makes sense to me.
Right, but usually.
Well, if you can talk and breathe, I think you're fine.
What's really weird is that he was
It'll
inside
probably
of my
be sore
shop.
for a while.
And I found this, and he holds up it's basically like a brooch.
Mhm.
I found this in the shop, and I assume he left it for me.
Gaspar did.
I don't know. There was no one else in my shop, and he was the only person that she saw.
I don't know, but why would he have this?
I don't know.
Well, if he
I lost
has
this in the
it,
fire.
And he actually pulls the scarf out. This as well. This was lost. This is my mother's.
Unless that bastard just stole it from the fire and killed one kid, why not steal from everyone else?
It's too clean.
It's true. This is very polished. I don't know.
they're probably not real.
And
then.
he
Why is he giving these to us? If it's him,
Mishka, did he say anything? Did you say something to him?
I think.
Do you want to try an intelligence check to see if you can remember?
Okay.
Do you remember what he said? Oh, you as...
Crystal Lee remembers.
Okay, never mind. You don't need to make a roll. I
Okay.
thought you... Okay.
Oh,
Sorry, just doing it so well. I just couldn't tell.
He said something about school and being kicked out, and it was our fault. We got him kicked out of school because we brought Lambert to remember because he killed the.
because he murdered the boy.
I
on
need
fire.
more water. Yes,
I go in, take it, and fill it up with another.
not water.
No.
Okay, wait, hold on. So as you're going and you're getting the thing and you're basically pouring out the tap and
It's
the
a
water.
mead. It's a mead. It's not water.
Okay, but as you're pouring in it, as everything's going through and it's filling up inside of the cup, you're basically, it's like your mind kind of goes back to this moment where you're setting down a small cup off to the side, right? It's just sort of like a wooden kind of mug kind of thing used for travel. The tent that you're inside of is not something that you're really used to living in or staying in at all, and so it's sort of terrifying for you. And you've been having nightmares pretty much every night. And this last night is no different. And your mom's sitting there, and she's just basically giving you some water, helping you to calm down. You can feel your heart as it continues to race. You can't remember what the dream was about. You just the nightmare that was there. Are you okay, Dave?
I don't know.
Oh,
Can't remember.
did you have another nightmare again?
Can't remember.
Come here. Let me look at you. She grabs you by the chin and looks into your eyes, and then she takes her pinky and kind of goes in towards the inside of your eye, and she just sort of wipes away and goes, I see you have a little bit of sand here. It seems as though the Sandman has met you this evening. This is her mother.
Oh, okay.
And he's like
She's freezing.
feeling in his
His mother?
eye.
His mother, sorry.
Burning.
You check the other eye, and there's a little sand in there as well. We need to make sure that it's removed, otherwise you may return again.
Why is he picking me?
No one knows these things, son. He tends to go more after children. But do not worry. As long as you clean your eyes every night, you will be protected from him.
The next morning, his eyes like red.
And that's how you get pink eye.
Ah!
And you hear some arguing going on outside. And you see your mother sort of just turns, and she has that worried look on her face.
He grabbed the cup again and drink some more water.
And the tent parts, and you see another woman come in. Her name's Viola. She's sort of been traveling with you as part of the caravan. Your mother and her have been getting along very well, especially ever since Viola found out your mom is a fortune teller. And so she's been sort of helping Viola out with something. Basically, she's been looking for something. And so she's been casting fortunes using the Harrow deck in order to try to help her to find the location of this object. And as she comes in, she has also a pretty worried look on her face, and the two of them kind of sneak off into a corner. Do you speak Varisian? Did your character ever learn how to speak that?
Unless it was taught to me.
Or
by my
were
parents.
you were just more Taldane, which is more the common sort
Yeah,
of tongue?
I'm pretty sure it was just common.
They begin speaking Varisian. You can pick up a few words. Your mom speaks it, so you've caught up a little bit of it here and there, but you haven't really gotten very good at it.
Because that's not how she and my father used.
Right, exactly.
Which is why
But they're talking in these sort of like hushed and worried tones. And the two of them go out, and you see that your mother turns back. Just wait here, dear.
I don't want to be alone.
I promise you, I will be back. And for some reason, that moment of seeing her say, I promise you I will be back, sort of echoes within your mind, almost as though the nightmare that you had, like that was a part of it. And you remember within your nightmare this sort of vision that you saw of your father being stabbed by a number of men. Basically, they're some of the caravan men. And they're something about money, something about, it seems as though you were being robbed. But now that sort of the nightmare is coming back, and you can vividly see that that blade just sliding through your father.
No, and I run up to her. No.
So do you run out of the tent?
Yeah.
Okay, because she's basically just walked out. You open up the tent flap, and as you look out, you basically watch as one of the men slides a blade through your father's chest.
I scream, just the little boy, like, Don!
And as you reach out for him, you see that Viola and your mother, basically, they both turn towards you. Viola picks you up, and the three of you begin running as fast as you can.
I'm trying to get out of their grip. No, Don!
And as you're basically trying to pull yourself out of the grip, you watch your father sort of slump over, and one of them basically grabs a bow, picks it up, stretches it back, and lets loose. And as it does, you see that it basically just goes directly into the back of your mother's neck, and all you hear is a brief gurgle as she slumps down to the ground. But Viola continues running.
I'm just crying, just sobbing.
And you watch as the tears are basically pouring away into the cup of mead that you've now overflowed.
I'm kind of like, and I'm ducked behind the counter to grab a spilled bit. Just kind of in a choke voice.
So if Gaspar is back, I mean, I don't know. What does that mean? Does that mean that he gave us these things to... Is he messing with us? Does he intend to kill us?
What happened to him after he left school?
I don't know. I mean, Lambert said that he just got kicked out of school, and in fact, I guess he got kicked out of Absalom.
I don't. I don't know if we should maybe assume that the objects came from him. I mean, maybe, but I just think maybe we don't want to assume. Maybe this is coincidence.
Are you okay, Parno?
Maybe someone made him do it.
Do you have my water, dear?
Just a moment I spilled.
Okay,
Is
so...
he okay?
He will be.
Got some sand in my eye.
So maybe all of us should stick together, at least until we find out what's going on. At least in pairs. I don't think any of us should be walking or traveling alone. Agreed?
I think 4 is better than 2.
True, but we have jobs and we have things that we have to do, and 4 may not necessarily be always the best we can. But we have to make sure that we're with someone at all times, even if it's not us. Agreed?
Okay.
He pops out from behind the counter and says, "Who wants to be with me?" And smiles. And his eyes are a little red. But...
I will. Oh, well, maybe we should, I mean, no, I'm not saying that because you're girls you can't take care of yourselves or anything. That's not what I'm just
what
saying
he's
that
saying
maybe...
is that...
I really like...
What he's
I
saying
wasn't actually
is...
implying any of that. I was just listening.
What? And he goes over and puts a arm around her shoulder. What he's saying is, West Boys need someone to look after us. And it shouldn't be another guy, because you know how hopeless we are. Here's your drink.
Thank you.
It's water. It's not.
As you sip it, it's strongly alcoholic.
It's a full glass of mead.
But
Have
it's
fun with that.
but it's calming your nerves a bit. So I mean, you know, that
well,
works.
the honey would be good on a slightly crushed throat.
We need,
And maybe we shouldn't drink too much of these things. We need
no,
to be
no,
aware
no.
of our surroundings.
I think that
Look,
Parno...
he reaches out to grab it, but of course you're dodging back. He's not fine.
I think that perhaps Parno, it might be best if you come with me because I have a lot of work responsibilities, and I think it would be great.
Well, job
you
done
to
for
be
the day.
surrounded.
It's
saying?
rough work.
Is it
Yeah.
nighttime? Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What are you implying?
That is-
He looks so indignant.
No, I think that it would be good because you are a very good storyteller, and perhaps the children might find that entertaining, if necessary, tomorrow, if you have to go with me.
Well, for tonight, how about we all stay here? We not get too drunk. We
It
have
has
to.
been 2 meals. 2. No, come on. It's 1.5 because the first one he had already started. It's 1.5. Okay, but maybe some.
It looks more like he's just worried about you. Like he kind of.
I totally understand. Maybe everyone
Also,
keeps talking. Don't we have like some stew or something? I don't feel very good.
Well, you did drink half a glass of mead.
Oh yes, that's my problem. That's my problem.
I'm saying that it probably is not going to make your stomach feel very good.
So
That you should have some
stomach is not.
I'll prepare
stew.
for your
Some
plan.
stew.
Did I get that right? Voice back now.
No,
Parno, where are you?
that's not it.
No, how is it? How do I do it? Parno, where are you? Is that it?
That's
No.
No.
Closer.
Parno?
You should go. No, it's not like a squirrel voice.
Oh, squirrel voice.
No.
Give me more like this.
No. It was very like snide and yeah, like that.
Parno. Parno.
Yeah.
Yes, I have it now. Parno, get
Yeah.
yourself over here.
There's gonna be a stew we're preparing for the guests tonight, so we should be fine in that department. Coming, one moment.
Now!
Yeah, that's the voice. Wow. Yeah, see?
You got upset last time I called you patrons, and so I can't use that as an excuse. And I walk towards the back.
We're freeloaders.
I will.
What
I
are
have
you
some
doing
coins.
here, Pano?
There was.
You know how I feel about you and them being here. We've had this discussion many times.
They're paying customers, sir.
I have money.
I don't care about paying customers. You know the kind of people they are. I want them out of my establishment.
What
You
kind
mean-
of asshole do you work
I
for?
understand how it
You
might be
don't-
difficult for
You
you
don't
to...
hear this. This is in the
Oh,
back room.
I'm
This is
sorry.
them.
Oh, I thought he.
Yeah, I
No,
thought
no, no,
that...
no,
You
this
need
is-
to make that clear.
This is them. This
That was
is
not
this
clear.
is them.
I assure
Alright,
you, sir, they are. Their stars are rising. But
By the way, don't you have something you're supposed to be doing this evening?
yes,
Why are you here?
there was one of my friends was assaulted, and so I was making sure that she was okay.
Well, then take care of it.
That is exactly what
Go
I did.
and take care of it now.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
waste my time or theirs. What is wrong with you today?
Of course, sir. And walking.
And he goes back over towards the back room in his office area. And if I see you anymore here tonight, you're fired.
Yeah.
He fires me every week.
Oh, how that echoed outside.
He fires me every week. It's okay. Does he? Does he threaten to?
He threatens,
You
yeah.
just said it. You made it real.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming. So I go out and back into the. He has an especially. He doesn't want us here. One of the performers is coming, who I got in a spat with at one point about the factual nature of his story. So he doesn't want me here tonight.
So you have the night off.
I do, as a matter of fact.
Let's go to a better inn and go get some meat and stew.
Shh, not so loud.
I heard that.
Oh. Maybe somewhere just not very far. Wait, we can go home. You're a good cook, yes? You make stew?
I could make stew. Yes, if we stop at we have to stop at the market first. And he's beginning to gather some of it. He put some things away, the dishes that he got out. As he goes behind the counter. So what? Was he looking for you, Gaspar? Was he surprised to see you, Mishka? This is from behind the counter, so he's kind of shouting.
I think he is surprised. I am surprised. It's very... I'm sorry. I remember... Like, I sort of remember, but it's also like... You know, that like energy rush because something happens and you get surprised and it's clouding my mind. But I just...
He comes out from behind
I
the
was
counter
just
with
about the energy. Oh, repression.
But I
Definitely.
see him come out of Corwin's shop, right? But I don't know it's Gaspar, right? So I see just a man come out of the shop, and I think I don't remember why, but I remember, you know, I see man, and I think like, oh, hey, I want to get your attention. Use this person because I'm looking for Corwin, and then he turns around and
Did
oh
you-
my god.
You got something as well. Did you?
Oh yes, I got my.
I don't remember if she stopped and talked with us first before going to Corwin.
A little bit, yes.
She did, okay.
Yeah.
My butterfly.
And that brooch, Corwin, was not there before.
All I know is that I remember somebody coming into the shop. I can't remember who it was. When I got back to my senses, there was the brooch sitting there. I took it, and when I came outside, that's when I basically saw the two of them.
We should keep talking, but we should keep talking while we're walking
Oh yeah,
out
he's
the door.
gathered up his things.
I do not like your boss so much.
He's a acquired experience.
So as you're heading out of the room, you see that there's a young boy that's sort of off towards the corner. He's always there. Papers! 1 copper! World Wound continues to expand. Papers! Papers! Hey, Pano, you want a paper?
The only news is bad news, right? And he'll hold out a copper.
It seems the bad news just keeps on growing. Takes the copper from you and hands you paper.
I roll up the paper and put it on my arm. I'll be looking at it later. It's just a broadsheet, right?
Mhm. Well, actually, this is a good time for us to discuss really quick the news that has been going on throughout the world. So as you kind of go towards the paper and you can sort of see everything, and your mind is sort of this remembrance of the past few years and just how terrible everything outside of Absalom has been and how grateful you are that you are currently in Absalom given all that's been happening. Now, first of all, before I do this, I do want to say, anyone watching, the playbill that we have that contains a cast of characters, basically information on the backstory and all that kind of stuff is down below. And if you're watching this on the VOD, it's actually down below in the description. Just look where it says playbill or look for the link down below. And that will give you all the information on the cast members, NPCs, everything you need to know.
I like playbills. Much better than work bills. And far better than utility bills.
Oh, that's the worst. So, currently the year is 4714. You're looking on there, and it's basically on the date. You know that it's currently summertime.
There was me the paper still.
Since what's that?
Yes. Otherwise,
It's
we have
Absalom.
no
This is-
idea what
It's
weather
Absalom,
it
Southern
is,
California
what
all year.
season. Oh, I guess it's
Absalom
winter now.
is Mediterranean weather, so winter just gets wetter.
So yeah, you can easily get confused with fall, spring.
Oh, it's
or
sunny again.
summer.
It's
Yeah.
sunny again. Oh, it's
No,
raining.
yeah.
It's sunny again.
Sometimes you need to know.
So for the past 4 years, things have been, as you know, pretty terrible. It all began back with your own homeland, Varisia, back in 4710, where an earthquake began ravaging all across Varisia. And for this, we're actually going to switch to a quick map so I can show you and everybody else kind of everything that's been going on. All right, so right now, this is Absalom, where we currently are at the moment, on the Isle of Cortus. So if we head over far to the east and then to the north, far, far away, is Varisia. Magnamar
I'm exotic.
is the city just below where it says Varisian Gulf, and that's where Parno is from. And in there, the entirety of the area, it was reported that all throughout Varisia was a massive earthquake, and that Magnamar and a number of other cities were damaged because of it. It was believed that was just sort of, at the time, it wasn't that terrible, but many people began to believe that it was a harbinger for things to come. Because in the next year, 4711, in Corvosa, which I'll center it, it's right there to the left of the Bloodsworn Vale. In Corvosa, which was the major city within Varisia, an old settlement of Cheliax, it was ravaged with disease. And it's said, according to rumors in the Pathfinders, that Queen Iliosa sort of rose from the ashes of all of this and was supposedly using these disease victims as sacrifices to gain her own power. With this power, she took a number of Hell Knights and others within Corvosa and began making her way southwards, past Nidal and down into Cheliax to wage war. Cheliax is where...
Oh, sorry, I waved to the camera
It's
and no
okay.
one can see me.
No, it's perfectly fine. Is where Christiana is from.
Yes.
Cheliax is, and I think we've mentioned before, is an empire of devil worshippers. Now, 100 years ago, Eredin, who was sort of the god of hope and humanity, and was supposed to become king of Cheliax, died. No one knows how, no one knows what happened. It's believed that a wound was placed upon the world known as the World Wound because of his death. I just realized what you meant by no one can see you wave, because I
Yeah.
have the map up.
Yeah. That's okay.
That's all right. Now, so this is Cheliax, and that's where she is from. After his death, Asmodeus began taking power, and a group called House Thrun, one of the noble houses, began rising within, and they were known to be devil worshippers. And eventually, worship of Asmodeus became the worship of the country, as basically devil worship began spreading all throughout. Now, mind you, they don't worship them; they control them. They believe themselves to be in power, not controlled by these devils. Of course, usually the opposite is true, but they are a proud people who cannot believe that anyone can have any real power over them. Now after this, Keonan, over here, which is the kingdom of the elves, it was destroyed by a meteor that came streaking down from the skies. And it sent a cloud of ash that spread all throughout the inner sea, even down into Absalom for months beyond it. All that remains left is a crater filled with lava. To the south, way down here, so I'll just give you, there's Absalom again. Down in Katapesh, the spawn of a god named Rovagug was seen. Now, Rovagug is an ancient god who many eons ago came out of no one knows where and threatened to destroy all of creation. He is a maw. His shape is almost like a giant mouth that just eats anything that gets in his path. And the gods all came together to imprison him in a pit deep beneath the earth. And basically, this planet, Golarion, is his prison. Knowing that a spawn of his, basically something that has kind of come out from him. If anyone has played D&D before, his herald is the Tarask. And the spawn of Rovagug are as powerful and deadly as the Tarask is. Seeing a spawn heralds his return.
According to myth and legend.
Exactly. Continuing on with our years of terror, back to Cheliax, down in West Crown, a revolt began. And now many accepted this revolt because many did not want Asmodeus to be the ruler. But it turned out that Mammon was actually the one behind the revolt. Mammon, of course, being another of the lords of the Infernal. But he is far worse than Asmodeus is. He is far more warlike and deadly. Asmodeus, as bad as he may be, still believes in a certain amount of law, amount of order, and a lot of lawyers. Whereas Mammon, on the other hand, believes in absolute law. He believes in tyrannical law, not even law, just power and order, and that all should rule under his name. And so the two began a civil war within Cheliax of House Thrune fighting against those who came out of West Crown. So in addition to this, upon the next year, in 4712, the First World began to appear just between the River Kingdoms and Brevoy. Now, the First World is the world of the Fae, and having it appear means that the First World actually took form inside of Golarion, and the land began altering and changing. And it's not the good Fae, it is the Shadow Fae, the Dark Fae, who began rising out from this land and threatening both Brevoy and the River Kingdoms.
Banshee.
In addition to this,
Banshee
it does.
means
It just keeps getting worse.
Right, so basically while we're sitting around being like, I wonder where this locket came from. That's so weird. The world is just going to shit.
Yep. So in Ustalov, directly in the center. Now, Ustalov was once under control by a number of different vampires who secretly ran it from the shadows. Those vampires were knocked out and removed, especially at the time where one called the Whispering Tyrant, a lich of great and ancient power, had been defeated and placed inside of the Gallows Spire, which I'll center right there. You can see it on the diamond. Now, the Whispering Tyrant threatened not only to destroy, to rule over humanity as the tyrant he was, but to destroy the gods themselves. And it is in fact believed that he had some sort of power that allowed him to kill gods, and killed Eredin's first herald.